Hey everyone, Corey Schrader, Black Creek Wealth Management. Hope you're all doing well and having a wonderful summer. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about the concept of covered calls and why it is just absolutely necessary right now for you to be doing these things. Again, this is my take on it because I do see the benefit from a protection perspective on just how do I make money right now when the markets are just dropping and we are in a bear market. It's about to happen, and it's not something that we need to run away from because honestly, you can't time this thing. You're not going to catch the ultimate bottom, and the concept of, trying to get in and get out, it doesn't work. So if we're able to navigate this thing, and again, there's nothing there's no one that has a crystal ball to say, hey, this is the bottom, this is where it's at. Even people last week on Tuesday, the guys that are managing, all this extra money and saying, oh, I think the bottom is in and all this, they're looking just sideways today because the market's going to drop again another 2% at the open. And when I say the market, I use the S&P 500. So what can I guess my followers and my clients, what can you guys do to be better than everyone else? That's what I care about. Is I care about you. I care about your goals. I care about you being successful, and I care about how can I help you achieve your goals as quickly and safely as possible. And I want to make sure that you get to benefit from all the knowledge and all the experience that I've been basically accumulating over the last 15 years. Because I want to make sure that we get to do all the fun stuff and we're not panicking and we're taking control of just the environment, right? I don't want to be a victim of the environment. I want to take control of it, and I want to see what can we do to make it better for us and for our family and our future generations, if that's what our goals are. Or if, hey, I just want to buy a car and I want to have the cash ready to go. How do I do that? And how do I protect myself while I'm investing at this point? So what I'm going to talk to you today is about what I am very passionate about and what I do for folks. It's called covered calls. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about a new separately managed account that I will be launching here in September called the Managed Risk and Income Separately Managed Account, that's brought to you by Black Creek Wealth Management. So it's a little bit of a plug on my new product, I guess you could say, that's coming out. But I think it's extremely timely, and I'm going to show you why. So for those that aren't aware, covered calls are a way that you can bring in additional income or money into your account as you're waiting for things to move from a sideways fashion or a downward trend to an upward trend, right? So if things aren't making any money or if they're dropping, I can do something and I can bring in or sell something. And I'm not going to get into the mechanics of it, at least right now. I can bring in money. Just know that you can bring in income into your account and be able to help reduce some of the drop that your investment is seeing, as well as bring in some additional money into your account that's going to make you money while the markets are dropping. And this is not something that is extremely aggressive. It is not something that is extremely foreign. It is actually it is an actual approach that is used, but it's not used often because it does take a lot of labor to be able to do it. Well, good news is I want to make sure that my clients benefit from this. So let's take a look at just how is this separately managed account, this managed risk and income, how has it been doing so far, given that the market has been dropping? Well, I think it's important to talk about that. So let's look at it. Well, so first you should know that the managed risk and income separately managed account that I've built out, it invests in the S&P 500 index through the SPY ETF. So an ETF is a basket of something that follows a different thing. So to make it extremely generic, the S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in the United States. You can buy an SPY ETF that tracks the performance of these 500 companies. And that is what you will find in your 401k. You'll find it in the SPY, VOO, ETFs that are sold by iShares or Vanguard or Fidelity. You believe it or not, you are actually invested in the S&P 500 if you're invested in a freedom fund or in a balanced fund, or if you're with a brokerage house and you have a managed account. I promise you, you are in the S&P 500 in some shape or fashion. Well, I use an ETF. It's called SPY. Look it up, and it tracks the S&P 500. So whatever the S&P 500 does, if it's up 2%, if it's down 2%, the SPY ETF will correspondingly be up or down whatever the index is. Okay. Well, that's great if the market's going up, because I'm making just as much as the index does, right? So if the index is up 20% for the year, I'm excited. Well, if the index is down 20% for the year, I'm not excited. In fact, I'm actually really not happy with that solution, right? Well, what if you could actually drop less than the S&P 500? Well, let me show you. And if you haven't been peeking at my screen, you'll notice. Well, this is time weighted return is the actual separately managed account, which is right here. And the S&P 500 ETF is the SPY. So again, if you're in a 70-30, 70 stocks, 30 bonds, if you're in a 50 stocks, 50 bonds, and someone is either managing it for you, or you're in a freedom fund, or you're in a balanced fund, you are in the S&P 500 in some shape or fashion. Well, that position, let's say it's 10%. So let's just round up. It's 10% of your account. Okay. And the market has dropped 10%. Well, 10% of your account has dropped 10%. What if it didn't have to? What if instead of it dropping 10%, it only drops 7%? Well, 7 is less than 10, so I like that idea. Well, over the last 5 months, this separately managed account has actually beaten the SPY ETF by about 3%. Okay. Now, this is gross of fees. The expense ratio, or the cost to have a separately managed account, is 0.85% on an annual basis. And I'm going to have an info session on this that I want you to sign up for if you want to learn more about it or learn the intricacies, so you feel like you're comfortable with making this decision. But if you even take out, let's say it was an annual basis and it just stopped today, and you take out that 0.85, this separately managed account would have still outperformed the ETF that the majority of us are holding by about 2%. Now, what you'll also need to understand is this doesn't cut off the upside growth potential that you can have. There's an actual strategy that I've developed and built that it takes advantage of the upside as well. So let's look at what it's done on the monthly basis, because I want you to see that as well. All right. So let's look at that. Well, what if I was to actually invest it on a monthly basis? Well, this is again against the S&P 500. On the left here is what has been the monthly return of the separately managed account. This is a plus or minus how the SPY ETF had done. And this is just the separately managed account cumulative over the last 5 months. So you can see it's brought in roughly what the S&P has, but also been insulated from that big drop. You can see that on a monthly basis outperformed the SPY by 1, actually underperformed. So it will have some fluctuation. Maybe it doesn't have as much upside. Okay. It's actually outperformed the April, May, and even in June. And I anticipate it through June. If we don't see a huge whipsaw to the upside, it should do as well here too. So it's not without downside. It just helps reduce that level of downside. So it addresses the question, my position is dropping. I don't want to try to time the market, but I don't want to drop as far as the S&P. There are things you can do, i.e. covered calls, to help bring in income to be able to benefit from that, downside without feeling the complete downside. So again, when I get back after here in June, I'm going to have plenty of information around in July and August, because I am going to launch this in September for clients to be able to, or even someone who's looking for a growth investment that has downside protection. I'm going to have this available come September. So I want you guys, if you know anyone that's also struggling with this, please share this. Make sure they're aware that this is coming out. I'm going to have performance consistently being shown so you are aware of what's going on. And then I'm going to have an info session that talks about the strategy in greater detail so you understand how is Corey doing this. I'm not going to show you the recipe, but I am going to show you how it is going to benefit you, how you can protect yourself, how you can make money and still do better than most of the people out there. Because I want to make you I want to help you achieve your goals as quickly and safely as possible. And that's what I'm about, because I want to make you successful. So God bless. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.